Hey all, welcome back. Welcome back. We are at KubeCon in Los Angeles. Ihor Dvoretskyi, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you, Alex?
Very well. Bill Mulligan,
Also doing great.
good to hear. Both of you work with the CNCF, and Ihor, you're the developer relations, I think, veteran of the group. You've been doing this work for a while now with the CNCF.
Yeah, like 4 years.
Yeah,
For
good
years
for you.
and a few months. Yeah.
And Bill, how long have you been with the group?
I will be at 1 year next week.
Man. All right.
But it's worth mentioning that Bill was with our community for years.
Oh,
Yes,
thank
as
you.
a student?
No, actually, I joined after my master's and then started contributing to the Kubernetes community before I joined CNCF.
You have a master's in what?
Social science of the internet.
Social science of the internet. Wow. So anthropological look at the internet, or is it more of like a sociological look at the internet?
We called it Internet 101 and how technology shapes society and society shapes technology.
So when internet and how it shapes society. So how do you bring that into your work?
Yeah, I mean, I think working in the community, it's exactly what I do every single day. We're all interacting, engaging around technology, but ultimately at the end of the day, it goes back to the people. That's what we always talk about in the cloud native community is the people are the most important part, and people before company. And so being able to understand like how technologies are going to shape people and like the different affordances that those technologies give to the people and what we can do, I think is really important when you're looking at trying to organize a community.
We'll get more of the community in a minute. I want to talk about those community efforts and how you're bringing that philosophy into the work. But Ihor, I want to talk money. I want to talk money. Now, when I'm talking about money, I'm actually talking about cloud credits, which equate to money, correct?
Yes.
And the CNCF has now a program, which you announced here, to offer credits to companies or individuals who qualify.
Right.
And this year, these are credits that are offered by companies that might have like an excess of them.
Right.
Right. And so they have excess capacity. So let's look at it from both sides. Like, first of all, who are the companies that are looking for credits, and who are the individuals who are looking for credits? And I say money because this is data, and data does not come for free, right?
Right.
The processing power doesn't come for free. So tell me about these people and what are they needing, and what is the demand that they have?
Sure. Just to be precise, this program is not for the companies who are looking for credits. This program is like bidirectional for the companies that are looking to donate credits, and for the projects that are looking
it's
to
the projects.
The
it's
projects
not the
that,
companies. It's
yeah,
the projects.
So for the open source projects that are looking for basically to using these credits to build their stuff, to develop their solutions, to run CI/CD, for example, pipelines, and so on. So
okay,
this is like bidirectional one, and we've been actually doing this for years, but we haven't ever programmized this. So we've been doing this for years, and if you know, like Equinix Metal was one of our biggest sponsors of the so-called cloud native infrastructure lab. Again, like for years, we received a few grants from Google a few years ago to build the foundation, to build the infrastructure for the Kubernetes project. We have received a few grants from Amazon for all our projects that could be utilized. Like if your project is in CNCF and if you're looking for some kind of AWS infra or storage solutions by Amazon and so on, so you could utilize these credits as well. And companies like GitHub, they have also been doing a great job in donating their CI resources for the projects that could utilize them with GitHub Actions, for example. So we've been doing this for years. We've been doing this for quite a while, but finally we've ended up with we need to have this as a programmized solution where everybody can apply, like every single project can apply for utilizing these solutions and utilizing these credits, and every single company which can offer something to us, they can do it. They will not need basically to to reach out to us directly, asking like, what can we do? They have just like right now, they have a magic button on our website where they can just fill out the brief form and like provide us with some data that will process later and figure out like how this company can be useful for us.
Wait a second. So they fill out a form,
Right.
and once they fill out that form, does what happens then?
So this form comes to CNCF staff, and
Right.
CNCF staff makes the final decision on what's going next. It's basically the same what we're doing with the Cloud Native Infrastructure Lab right now, which is offered by Equinix Metal. But in this specific case, it's not just a single cloud provider. It's like every company that can donate something, they can do it.
So what's the criteria that the CNCF staff is looking at for these companies who do apply?
Well, there are no like well-specified criteria right now, but basically it's like you have to have like some solution that you can offer to us, or you can donate like something different. So like it's basically like you explain to us what can you do for this community, and based on that we can find the best way how to utilize your perfect skills or the credits or something like this.
Who's paying for this otherwise? If you're not providing these credits, where do these open source groups go for their funding of their projects? Is it just out of their own pockets?
Yeah. So like in the past, in the past we had a few projects that have been like again like some of their like if not most of the CNCF projects typically, especially at the beginning of their development, they've been backed by some commercial companies, and it may happen that these commercial companies are also backing up their infrastructure at the early stages. But again, since you're moving to being like to the full open world, if you're running these projects as an open source project, it's also worth having the infrastructure open for the maintainers as well. It's not always a good solution to be backed by some commercial entity. It's always better to be backed up by the foundation.
So once the CNCF staff decides, okay, this open source group gets credits, like how much credit do you offer? Like, and is it a recurring thing then, or do they have to go back to you every time they need more credits? I mean, do you offer enough to last them a year, 6 months, 3 months? Like, what is it that you provide back to them?
Yeah, so we ask for an annual commitment at least. So it allows us basically to make it like long term enough. Also for the project, so they could plan their computing resources accordingly and so on. We have a few different tiers. Again, like it depends on the level of commitment, like how many credits does this company offer, and what they will get in return from us, like the marketing resources, some kind of promotion, and so on. So it depends. Like again, like full details explained on the CNCF website under the credit section.
Sure.
So if somebody is interested in that, so like we have everything like explained
So
in details
tell me
there.
some of the open source groups that are receiving credits and some of the organizations that are donating credits right now.
Yeah,
as part of the program.
Yeah, sure. So we've just recently had a conversation with the Cox Communication edge cloud provider, which is like they are ready to provide us with some credits for the edge resources. And probably Bill can tell a little bit more about this, but the edge era these days is like well emerging, and like there are definitely enough projects who would be interested in utilizing some credits and these donations for the edge focused technologies.
Are there what projects do you have that people might know of or that are participating in the program? That are receiving credits.
So right now, as I mentioned before, we've been doing this for quite a while. So
yeah. So which ones use it now?
Most of them actually, like Kubernetes, for example, is using the Google credits that Google has donated a few years ago for the cloud infrastructure. There are tons of different projects like Envoy, like Prometheus, like TIKV, Vitesse that are using the Amazon credits. There are also like numerous projects who are using the Equinix Metal infrastructure for their purposes.
Right.
Sometimes it's way easier to spin up just the bare metal machine where you can run your workloads rather than playing with the cloud. And so, like with GitHub, as I mentioned before, we have the GitHub is offering basically can offer the CI resources basically for free for our projects, and there are also like tons of different projects under the CNCF umbrella who are using this. Like most of them.
Bill, this is a long, well accepted way for young companies, young communities to get their services running, right? But another big part of getting, becoming an open source community is how well you develop your culture. And culture has always been central to the decentralized internet, so to speak. And I know you're working on really extending the community projects that the CNCF has been doing. Can you tell us about that effort and what's really the reasoning behind it?
Yeah, sure. There's, I think, 3 programs that are really exciting for me in terms of growing and expanding the community and the number of contributors to our projects. So the first one is the Kubernetes Community Day program. The second one is Cloud Native TV. And the third one is our student initiatives. So I don't know, which one do you want to jump into first?
Let's talk about the community one. We were talking a little bit beforehand about how they're extending to other parts of the world, and I'm curious if you have any latest information about how many contributors you're seeing at these events and what you're looking to in terms of your goals for participation.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Kubernetes Community Day program is a really exciting thing that is enabling people to build their cloud native community in their local area. So you can think of them maybe as like a mini KubeCon organized in a specific city or a specific country, really localized to what the community there is interested in, and even maybe localized to their language. KubeCon is great, but there's only 3 that happen per year, and they can only go to certain large metros because of limitations on like the conference venue size. What these KCDs allow us to do is expand into new geographies and go to different areas and even in different languages too. So we're going to have about 20 of them this year. Just to mention a few that have happened, we had ones in El Salvador, Washington, D.C. China is actually at the end of this week, and it's going to be our first in-person one. We had one in Bangalore, one in Africa. There's one being planned, or there was one in Spain. There's one in Korea, one being planned in Australia too. So we're actually across all 6 continents right now, and it's in multiple different languages too. So KCD Korea was a full day of content all in Korean. I think there was 3 tracks there. KCD Spain was 3 days, 2 tracks all in Spanish. So really providing a whole set of new content to people that didn't have it before. And it's also a great way to bring in new contributors too. So there is Kubernetes contributor summits both at Bangalore and at Brazil. That's going to be happening in January. The Bangalore one had over 1,000 attendees. Brazil, I think, is going to be also great. That one's going to be all in Portuguese. Expanding to new geographies, to new languages, bring new types of people into the community. I think it's a very exciting program.
Well, great. Well, I would just like to thank you all for hosting these events and bringing the community together. It seems like it's there's a younger vibe to it this year. Would you say that? That's in conclusion. What is the vibe you're getting from the community here in Los Angeles?
Well, I would say that this is the post-pandemic vibe. Yeah. We're not like we're not done with the pandemic, but the health measures that we had here allowed us to run the face-to-face event here this time around. And I would say that people are excited about this.
Yeah.
Like we missed each other, right? So we haven't met each other in person like for almost 2 years, and this is something amazing. It's probably the biggest positive thing about this event, that we are able to see each other in person.
What's your thought on the post-pandemic vibe? What are you seeing here that is striking to you?
The thing that's striking for me is just the different size of different people. Like some people are taller, some people are shorter than you were expecting. You just see them.
People are talking about like
everybody on my.
Wait a second, you're much taller than I thought.
That's what everybody is saying on my team, but everyone else is kind of all about the same heights. They're all looking up to Ihor and I. That's kind of the funny thing. But no, I think like the thing that I'm feeling is a lot of how good like the hybrid event is that we can meet these people in person, but we're also providing much greater accessibility to people all around the world, especially to students. So any student can now attend KubeCon virtually for free, and we're seeing a lot of that interaction and engagement online. I know Ihor just came from a student track panel. That's a new track here at KubeCon, and I'm excited about how that will bring in new contributors to the ecosystem too.
Right.
I want to thank you both for taking the time to talk today. I've been with Ihor and Bill, who are big parts of the community here at the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. Thanks for your time.